From lockdowns to landlocked. Hey everybody, Scott Walters, welcome to the channel. If you're new, I want to thank you for coming. If you're returning, I want to thank you for your continued support. Before we get into today's red hot topic, I'm going to politely ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Please watch to the end for my final thought. Hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos are released. It's very important to stay close to the channel in these very tricky times. All right, folks, welcome to the channel. It's always an honor and a privilege to be with you. I hope you're all doing great. Buckle up, strap in, no rainbows and sunshine, no sugarcoating it. I'm just going to give it to you and give it to you straight. And folks, we have a massive new issue to temperature check and heat map in our U.S. economy that is threatening millions and millions of homeowners. This is insanity. Are you seeing this stuff out here? My gosh, folks, this is insane. So we'll continue to do our best to report on what it was like, what happened, what it's like now, and more importantly, what's coming. That's the million-dollar question. That's what we all want to know. What's coming? Actually, you know what? I say we all want to know. I would say anybody at the channel wants to know. Unfortunately, there are many people out there right now that they're not interested in that. They're just living as if, this is all normal. And listen, folks, I drank the Kool-Aid in the last real estate boom. And the real estate market always has had booms and busts. Insanity. So I know, like I said, as a salesman that's trained in the psychology of sales, when people make up their mind to buy, they're buying. It doesn't matter if it's a bubble or not. That's become pretty obvious, right? We just had 20 million people buying the height of the biggest real estate bubble ever produced in history, and here is the challenge. Buckle up and strap in. This is insanity. Oh my gosh, this is so insane. So unfortunately for many Americans who just bought in the height of a real estate bubble, went above and beyond appraised values, they are at risk right now because as soon as the market corrects, they're underwater instantly. The bigger challenge now is that millions of Americans on a daily basis continue to become house poor. All their eggs are in one basket. The majority of their income is going to housing. And this is the challenge. Inflation wasn't going through the roof when they got underneath these payments. Their purchasing power is now being handicapped. This is a recipe for disaster. This, in fact, is what happened in the last housing bubble. Eventually, this is the correlation, folks. It comes back down to another thing that we can barometer in heat map and temperature check, and it's gasoline. Anytime gasoline has done what it's doing now, which is doubled in price since the pandemic, and this is all comes back to the pandemic always, but we're going to get out of the problem and in the solution. But most of you that are watching know this is not for the pandemic. We're not in this mess. Anytime gas prices have done what they're doing now, a recession has been the result. So in order for us to understand what's coming, we got to look at what happened in the past. There's so many things now we're contending with. We have the perfect storm. A recession is already here. Now it's seeing how deep will this recession go? Because if you're not aware of this, folks, people went from lockdown from a health pandemic to landlocked from gas prices, food prices, cost of living prices. I don't care if you drive an electric car or a gas car. It won't matter. This is always going to come down to the psychology of people. This will always come down to herd mentality. So as we start to feel recessionary pain, similar to when we saw the buying euphoria explode and everybody raced out to buy because everybody else was doing that, well, as soon as a recession starts to dominate the airwaves, which is just on borrowed time, people, whether they can afford their cost of living or not, are going to recess. I've reported on this. I've already reported on real life examples of how people start to recess at the front end of a recession. It's here. It's what's happening. So folks, what we have to really understand is anytime gas has spiked in cost, a recession has followed, not 50% of the time, 100% of the time. And it all comes back to the behavior of the bubble. And what the behavior exhibited from the bubble is. Anytime we've placed any asset class in an extreme bubble, and real estate is the pinnacle of all asset classes, everything hinges on the real estate market. If the real estate market fails, everything fails. And right now we do have an ugly elephant in the room in terms of commercial real estate. Businesses are not moving back into these commercial spaces, and that's tying up billions and billions of dollars of real estate that's attached to loans, investors, banks, everything. And a lot of us are like, cool, let them crash. They deserve it. I understand. I get it. But the reality is this will have a trickle-down effect. So like we said, every crash has been different in terms of how it was produced, but every crash has been produced when the bubble has exhibited the behavior of the bubble we're in now. And right now that bubble is extreme appreciation rates to all-time highs in a short period of time. That's a bubble. So we're in that. Now we're hitting this leveling off period because it can't tolerate any more growth. The federal government is now trying to slow the economy by raising interest rates, but they're afraid to spook the markets and collapse all the markets, so they're inching them up and then trying to do this delicate dance. And I just don't know if it's humanly possible right now for that to happen, because we got to pick our poison. The recession now is inevitable. We're in it right now. We're entering in the front end of a recession, because anytime gas prices done what they're doing now, we in fact have had a recession. So it's just more writing on the wall. You know, we have to be a level-headed realist. I mean, you would have to pretty much, understand that. I think the challenge will be, again, people's short-term memory loss. Even me as an industry guy, this is how insane that herd mentality was during the buying euphoria of this stimulated economy. Even as an industry guy who lived through the last bubble, who had to dump one of his properties in it, almost drank the punch. I was like, maybe I should search for properties too. And I'm like, what are you doing? You need to warn people. And that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to wake people up and let them understand this is a housing bubble. Historically, they've never been able to sustain themselves when they've exhibited this behavior. This bubble is more volatile because it was manufactured and produced through stimulus measures. There was nothing organic about it, and we've kicked the can too far down the road. So now we're at that tipping point. Either inflation or interest rates will correct this market. The challenge will always come back to the herd mentality. As soon as the narrative is broadcast on mainstream media of a recession, people are going to recess whether they want to or have to or not. It's going to be the thing to do, just like the buying herd mentality. So we have millions of people right now that can no longer afford their homes. They're running on fumes. Their savings is shrinking. They're subsidizing their income with their savings. So when that's depleted, something has to go. It will be the house. We will have to temperature check, because it's not a matter of if, it's when and how many. Will it be in fact a full-blown epidemic proportions when it comes to the amount of distressed homes that hit the market? It could cascade. It could cascade this housing market. So we really, don't want it to just bury our head in the sand and pretend like these things can't happen when they've always happened, every single time. So our job is to continue to be a level-headed realist and temperature check and heat map these things, so we can come iron sharpens iron and be together on this, because we'll be less affected by it when it comes. Many heavy hitters are already anticipating this. I have to side with them. Again, I do not want to see anybody go through the pain I went through. I know I don't regret it now, because what I've learned, I certainly don't want to go through it again. And I really want to help other people not have to do that as well. You can help me by simply giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel and dropping a comment below. Let's get this message out. Our rewards in life are always in direct proportion to our contribution. You can contribute simply by doing that. We will be okay, but only if we continue to acknowledge the clear and present dangers. And friends, we have some clear and present dangers right now with inflation. If you appreciate the content, I humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment below. Social media links are in the description of this video if you'd like more access to me, along with other channels I've appeared on, including but not limited to my good friend Dan over at iAllegedly, and many, many others. If you're on your TV today, another video is in your screen at this time that you can watch, along with an easy subscribe button for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time today. Please go make it count. We'll see you on the next video.